Well, thank you so much for taking the time today to discuss the state of venture capital and the clean tech industry as a whole. Two controversial topics getting a lot of attention right now. So why don't we dive right in? What are Chrysalix's thoughts on the venture model today, especially as it relates to clean tech? Is it broken?
That's an interesting question. Is it broken? It's probably not so much broken as that we have actually tried to put a square peg into a round hole by borrowing the IT VC model from the 90s and trying to apply it to a totally different industry. Other than IT, clean tech is way more about fundamental science. It's about large companies with huge incumbent vested interest. It's about capital. Actually, the industry is extremely hungry for capital. At its core, clean tech is about trying to tackle the problems the world has with the environment and with resources scarcity and change the products and services of large organizations and mass markets. As such, clean tech is extremely important to our life today, even more to our life in the future. It is not a nice to have. It is not a Facebook. It is part of the multi-trillion energy industry. As such, for clean tech VCs, it's very important to integrate themselves into the innovation process of large organizations. De facto, we have to become the middleman between the small companies with innovative technologies and the large companies that can bring these technologies to markets.
While in clean tech specifically, numerous venture investors are withdrawing with their tails between their legs, now seeing clean tech as a dirty word. What is Chrysalix's perspective on the industry today?
We at Chrysalix have never been more bullish about clean tech than today. We see cost curves coming down in solar, in wind, in LEDs. That means that the cost of clean tech products is now becoming more and more competitive with the incumbent products. As such, clean tech really has arrived as part of the mainstream energy industry. This is boring. This is about energy security, providing cheap electrons. That's good. This is not an industry that is about sneaker-wearing hoodie Zuckerbergs. We at Chrysalix are a bunch of former energy industry executives. We understand how to help our small companies to become part of that mainstream energy provision.
Well, as the world's most active clean tech venture investor, what specifically has Chrysalix chosen to do at this time in the wake of this negativity?
If you talk with ABB, GE, Siemens, DuPont and many others, these large companies in the past year have reported tens of billions, that is billions, in clean tech revenues. That varies from solar to wind, to LED lights, to cleaner dishwashers, to more energy efficient engines for locomotives or airplanes. You will not hear these companies talk about clean tech as something negative. No, most of them in the past years have very actively contributed in what, or participated in what I would have called an arms race to pick up the most attractive clean tech companies. For us as Chrysalix, it's very important to understand that process and be part of it. That is why we so actively, on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, interact with our limited partners. And that is why, over and above, twice a year, we organize summits with very senior executives from large organizations like GE, ABB, Boeing, Arriva, you name it. They all have been to our summits to exchange information among each other about their innovation process and how clean tech can become a part of that. In that regard, it's very important for us at Chrysalix to continue to invest all over the world, as we do today, in game-changing technologies that these big boys may need.
And finally, well, what will VC success look like going forward in the clean tech space?
The big word is always, of course, IPO. And sure, you will see the occasional IPO. We have seen Tesla, they pulled it off. So in Chrysalix, we see terrific exit opportunities, for examples for the likes like Agilix, our leading waste plastic back to oil company. There are great opportunities for Bridgelux, our LED company, that is really leading the way to cheap LEDs at the prices comparable to existing incandescent lights. And then there is general fusion. Fusion energy at extremely low cost. How cool could that be? We at Chrysalix say increasingly that the future for Cleantech is very, very bright. It may be boring, but the more boring it gets, probably the more solid the returns.
Thank you so much, Wal, for speaking with us today.
Thank you. It was great to be here.